If you do it again, I'm going to put you out. You're charged with interference with the duties of a public servant. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir. All right? So
Yes, Judge. On February 3rd, 2025, at approximately 11:53 p.m., the officer observed a vehicle on a public road with a defective front left headlamp, and the officer ran a check on the vehicle and it returned with unconfirmed insurance. A traffic stop was initiated, and the defendant quickly exited the vehicle, and the officer gave multiple commands for him to get back inside and shut the door. The defendant stated he wasn't going to, and the officer had no reason to pull him over. The defendant then walked back and got inside the vehicle, but held his feet outside the car and did not shut the door. From the officer's trained experience, he has seen situations where the driver would sit like that, then leap from the car and try to hurt officers, and the defendant put his feet into the car and the officer approached. The vehicle had 2 young children, but not a car seat, standing in the front passenger seat, and the officer asked the defendant several times for his name, and the defendant stated he could not because the officer was fucking with him. The officer informed the defendant of the legitimate reason for the traffic stop, and the defendant continued to refuse to provide his name. The officer asked the defendant to exit the vehicle, and the defendant then refused. The officer went to grab the defendant's wrist, and the defendant pulled away from the officer and other deputies. The deputies advised the defendant that he was going to be tased, and the defendant exited the vehicle. The defendant stated he wasn't going in handcuffs and resisted by tensing his arms and body and concealing his hands towards his front waistband. The defendant was taken to the ground where he continued to resist. After several commands, the defendant was going to be tased. The defendant finally put his hands behind his back.
All right, Mr. Collier, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Can you run his license to see if he has a valid Texas driver license?
I'll run it right now, Your Honor. It's eligible, Your Honor.
Mr. Collier, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm not putting any conditions on your bond. Just be careful. You get into a pissing match with people who have the power of arrest. Who's going to win? You know what I mean? So just, it's a logical conclusion. That's all it is. Just be careful when you're out there. Life's hard enough. As an African-American in today's society, don't make it any harder, you know?
Sir.
Do you want to apply for an appointed lawyer?
Sir.
All right, I'm going to give you an application. I'll have you sign an receipt with Billy. I'm not putting any conditions on your bond. Just be careful. That's it. All right? Come on, man. Up. Good morning, Mr. Blanco. Sir, you're charged with terroristic threat on a public servant. That elevates it to a Class A misdemeanor, so you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Yes, Judge. On February 3rd, 2024, the officer was dispatched to Eastside Transportation and made contact with the complainant, a bus driver. The complainant explained that she made an exception to her usual route to drop off a student closer to home. When the complainant was halfway to the student's home, she opened the doors to let the student off, and the defendant approached the bus doors and appeared to grip an area where his firearm was located at his hip. The defendant asked the complainant if she planned to write up his daughter, and the complainant said yes. The defendant then took a few steps back and lifted his shirt to expose his firearm while making threatening statements. The complainant was in fear for her life and did not want to come back to work, and the officer confirmed the incident by bus camera footage. And specifically, the defendant lifted his shirt to expose his firearm while continuing to make threatening statements, telling the complainant, "I got you." And then seeing the firearm, the complainant quickly closed the bus doors to leave. And as they were closing, the defendant lifted his shirt again to display the firearm, still repeating, "I got you."
Mr. Blanco, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Look, I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of weapons. Do you understand? As long as you can abide by these conditions, you and I will be fine. If I find that you pick up a new case, you have any kind of weapons, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand? Now you have a lawyer. Good job on having a lawyer. Because you have one, I will waive your appearance, but it is your responsibility to stay in touch with him, and he'll tell you when you have to come back to court. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're ducking and dodging and playing games, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. I'm not asking much. I just want my public to be safe. You understand? All right. So I'm going to have you sign a receipt with Billy. We'll have you take a seat while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it, and then you'll be free to go. All right. You found no weapons. Yes, tell.
My name's Sabir Fareed. I'm just going to be covering until Deanna gets here. She's just running a few minutes late. I'm the chief in court 8 next door.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
We have a panel coming any minute, I think, so,
Sounds good.
yeah. Okay, thanks. Ready?
Rory Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, you were charged with evading arrest and detention. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 3rd, 2025, the officer observed a vehicle with no proof of financial responsibility. The officer also observed the registered owner of the vehicle to have an open warrant out of Harris County. The vehicle ran a red light and stopped past the designated stopping point, and the vehicle turned north, driving quickly as to elude the officer's patrol vehicle. The defendant pulled into a driveway. The defendant got out of the driver's seat as the officer attempted to initiate a traffic stop with emergency equipment for the traffic violations and conduct the investigation. The officer told the defendant to come to him, and the defendant began to evade on foot. The officer told the defendant to stop, but the defendant continued running, jumping over fences before he was taken into custody. The defendant evaded for approximately 100 to 200 yards and was identified based on his ID and name.
What was the basis of the stop again?
So no proof of financial responsibility and running a red light.
Got it. All right, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm telling you now, you're extremely lucky that this is a misdemeanor. This is your third. On a second, it's a felony offense. You're very lucky. Can you?
No, the defendant is on parole.
Can you run his license, please?
It's ineligible, not eligible, Your Honor.
Have you signed an affidavit with me today, Mr. Johnson? I don't care what's going on in your life. Do not drive. Do you understand? This is an affidavit that you're going to be promising me you're not going to drive. If you want to drive, go get a license, get liability insurance, and I will take this restriction off. But if I find that you do, I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand? Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, Mr. Johnson? So I'll have you fill out an application. I'll take a look at it to see whether you qualify. I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I'm going to get you to Billy to sign a reset, and then we'll take a look, fill it out. Don't pick up any new cases. Do you understand?
Sure.
You are lucky that this is not a felony offense right now as it is. So
So I don't know if this is something we can do without my client, but I wanted to just check it out. I've got a young kid who's in high school living at his parents' house. He's on house arrest with a laundry list.
I remember the one kid.
He needs to take his SAT test to try to get into college. That is March the 8th. I just wanted to approach and make sure
Okay with that.
you're kosher. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine. Thank you.
absolutely. Let them know, and for the time that he needs to go out, we're okay with it.
I know everybody wants to go take the SATs. but Thank you, Judge.
Have to.
We did. We've all paid our dues. Thank you, Judge.
Absolutely. Marcos, you ready?
I'm waiting on
Not
the,
yet.
just to figure out what you're
So not yet, you're on the paperwork now.
Do you have a few Marcos?
Yes, Judge.
The flag here.
Who is it on?
One more, Chief.
Oh, is it the gentleman from the back?
He's
Oh, he's
right there.
out. Okay.
He's,
Did we do a TRAS?
yes, so he's been in custody now. Bottom line, Judge, the offer is 21 days, credit for 7.
I don't know if I'm going to take a time served on someone who's got an open DWI in another county, and he's got a DWI here, and he's got.
It's not open over there, Judge. He's not open. It's not open over there. He's not open over there. And he told me he's reporting once a week to some sort of a treatment over there. It's the 22-month probation in Tarrant County. And he lives in Tarrant County. His family's in Tarrant County.
Signature.
Thank you, Judge.
So it's 22 months over there. His family's over there. He has to report. He was just telling me once a week to, I don't know exactly what it is. I'm thinking some sort of treatment. And for him to come down here constantly is just, it's not feasible for him. So that's why I thought, you know what, let's just close him out. Yes, he'll have 2 convictions, but he'll be in Tarrant County. He'll take care of that. He'll get, help over there, and then he'll be done.
You said he has how much credit?
He should have 7 days.
We did do a T-Rex though, right?
Yes.
What did the T-Rex recommend? I'm assuming residential?
Community, not, oh, I guess that's different then.
Followed by IOP SSC, because they took into consideration because of the here immigration status and all of that. Because he was very for court and he didn't qualify.
Because of the immigration issue? Or why?
Because he lived in Tarrant County as well. A community residential is what they came up with.
I don't know, Marcos. Every time we deviate from that, it explodes. It literally just,
What if I find out? What if we reset him so I can get more information from Tarrant County? And talk to his probation officer and figure out exactly what he's going to be doing over there. And then if it's similar to this and he's getting the treatment, then
but this is residential. They're not doing this. Otherwise, he would be in it right now. I doubt that, because they already pled him, right? I don't even know if they knew that this thing was open. So they're just,
I'm sure they did.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can't speculate on things, right? Because it's just. Thanks.
Mr. Butler. Mr. Butler. Thank you.
All right. I mean, whose next one's a felony? I mean, he'll have to deal with that, I guess. All right.
I understand.
Okay, Mark.
Bring him up.
Yeah. You ready?
I need to country.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry about that.
One of these.